Greetings, Lindas and Bobs. This is Matt Patrick. So, I will admit, 2022 wasn't the best year for animation, but we did have some fun films like the Bob's Burgers movie, Wendell and Wild, Turning Red, Lightyear, and The Bad Guys. But we also had some wonderful films like Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. It was also a good comeback for Sonic for a sequel, Netflix series, and his latest video game. We had some laughs from the Cuphead show, and we played a game of Cat Burglar for some bigger laughs, as well as visiting some imaginary realms from Pokemon and Kirby and the Forgotten Land. We said farewell to the magical world in Amphibia, closed the book on one of the biggest children's shows, Arthur, and we got reunited with a Fairly Odd Parents in live action, which made you wish the series would just end already like its original cartoon. Speaking of original streaming, it was also noted that 2022 was the worst year for streaming animation. Now, don't get me wrong, we still got some great anime movies from streaming like I mentioned before, like Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio and Wendell and Wild. I'm talking about the stuff that's been happening behind the companies, Netflix and HBO Max, and how they are treating their original IPs and everyone working on them. You got Netflix laying off some animators and canceling a bunch of anticipated anime films and shows like Ember and the Bone series. And the only thing we discover from Warner Bros. Discovery is that they have zero taste in animation, from removing their original shows and continuations like Infinity Train, Close Enough, Summer Camp Island, and more, canceling movies that were near completion like Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Hunt, and even stuff outside animation on HBO Max is getting the Thanos snap, like Westworld's not getting an original 5th final season, and the DC Extended Universe is destined to get a new reboot. 2022 was definitely a roller coaster. It gave us some higher ups while others came crashing down. But with 2023, we got a bunch of anticipated anime films that people can't stop talking about them, and neither can I, and that's why I'm ready to share my initial thoughts on the upcoming anime films of 2023. Once again, I'm not going to see all of them, they may not reflect in theaters or streaming during that year. I'm just going to share my initial thoughts based on the movie news and trailer given to me at this time. But first, here are a few honorable, unannounced, and unofficial anime hybrid films. Migration. It's a movie about birds, that's all I know about it. But the only thing I do know about this movie is that it's going to be directed by one of the directors of Ernst and Celestine, so this should be interesting. High in the Clouds. I never read the book, but given that the actual author, Paul McCartney, is going to be the executive on this, so we'll see. The Monkey King. The concept art looks nice, but I need more information and or a trailer to decide. Strays. It's an adult anime hybrid movie starring Will Ferrell. I'm curious to see where this goes. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, here are 2023's biggest anime contenders. The Super Mario Bros. Movie. Oh man, so many Mario games and references, brain overloading! Ever since we heard the news that Nintendo and Illuminations are working together that they're making a Mario Brothers movie, people have felt skeptical about it because of the casting choices, especially Chris Pratt as Mario. But once we were finally given a trailer to the upcoming movie, all those expectations dropped because people are crazy about it because it looks amazing. Where do I begin with this? First off, the animation. Everything about it is just completely beautiful and amazing. They captured the spirit of the original games like the Mushroom Kingdom, Bowser's Castle, and all the other mechanics and other gameplay things that happen from the Mario games, like the Power Stars, the mushrooms. Even the performers did a great job portraying the Mario characters, like from Princess Peach, Toad, Luigi, and even Bowser. I also like there is a bit more world building to some of the familiar Mario realms, like the Mushroom Kingdom. We do see the marketplace where all the toads hang out, and there are some things on how they walk around and how they collect their money, like a bank. The only issue I would have with the trailer is, just like everyone that was dreading about this upcoming Mario movie, is that Chris Pratt is not channeling his inner Mario. When we finally hear Chris Pratt as Mario, he's really not giving his all as Mario. Okay, I'm not expecting him to go and scream, "Let's go!" like the original voice actor, but you're not seeing Mario as Mario in this movie. You just see Chris Pratt wearing a Mario costume for Halloween. Whenever you hear him say, "Mushroom Kingdom, here we come," he's acting like he's not excited to see Princess Peach or her castle. And even when he's attacked by a popular enemy from the games like the Cheep Cheep Fish, he's not suffering in pain. He's acting like he's brushing it off like it's nothing. Now, Chris Pratt is a great actor, and he can be a lot of fun, like in Emmett from the Lego Movie, and especially Star-Lord in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. So why does he sound like he's not interested in playing Mario in this movie? I mean, come on! It's 10 times better than being in another Jurassic World movie. But for everything else, this movie looked like it can be a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun Mario references, the animation is amazing, and all the other performers outside Chris Pratt acting like they are having fun playing these Mario characters. And I do believe that Illumination and Nintendo did have fun making a Super Mario Bros. Movie. So whatever's gonna happen to this upcoming movie, whether it's good or bad, it will definitely be a crazy level. I have nothing else to say but, Mushroom Kingdom, here we come! See? That's how you do it. Nimona. Oh, thank goodness this movie wasn't completely scrapped. Originally began as an original anime Blue Sky Studio based on a graphic novel, it moved to Netflix after the closing of Blue Sky Studios, but luckily for them, all the original source material what was made at Blue Sky was completely retained, including the animation and the original voice actors. Now, I never actually read the graphic novel by Snell, but given some research, it does sound interesting. It said it's about a shapeshifter named Nimona, who joined forces with this villain that's trying to take over this Overcontrol Institute. And the graphic novel and the upcoming anime movie is supposed to be a fantasy-based movie filled with technology, which does sound very interesting. From the looks of the concept art, it does look amazing, though it does remind me too much of the Carmen Sandiego show on Netflix, but still looks pretty good. I can definitely see that this is going to be Netflix's most important movie, much like how Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio was in 2022, so I'll keep my eye out for it. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. My Spider Sense is going crazy and it's screaming, yeah! Now, we all remember last year that Sony Pictures Animation gave us a glimpse what the upcoming movie Across the Spider-Verse was going to look like between the brawl between Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2099. But for this one, we really go across the Spider-Verse. Now, when you think of a Spider-Verse sequel, you think that we're going to get more versions of Spider-Man, like the Scarlet Spider, and we do get to see Spider-Woman for the first time. But it turns out the Spider-Verse can give us more than that. If you look very closely on the poster and the official trailer, we do get to see other versions of Spider-Man from other media, like video games and cartoons. One person pointed out that PlayStation 1 Spider-Man is in the trailer when we see the other Spider-People chase after Miles, and if you look very closely at the poster itself, you see a familiar 2D Spider-Man character, and it's actually the Spectacular Spider-Man, Spider-Man's most famous animated Spider-Man cartoon and reboot. And even stuff outside of the Spider-Verse is amazing in terms of storytelling. Like, we do get to see what Miles Morales is going to face in the upcoming movie, The Spot, which is a fitting villain since he has dimensional powers. And we even get an emotional scene from the trailer where Miles' mom tells Miles to look after the boy she loved and raised as a kid. It clearly shows that she knows that her son Miles Morales is growing up, but she still sees him as her little boy, and he asks him to take care of himself. And given that Miles is Spider-Man in his own dimension, he will fulfill that responsibility. Overall, this upcoming Spider-Verse Part 1 is gonna be crazy and awesome at the same time. I can't wait to see where this goes, and I hope they give it everything that they got. Elemental. Ooh, this one looks good. It's gonna be about a fire girl named Ember and a water boy named Wade that, even though they're different elements, they do have something in common, and they end up becoming friends, possibly even more than that. And yes, this animation clearly shows that we are entering a Pixar movie, though I will admit that the animation does have a bit of that Zootopia vibe, but it does look pretty cool. I also like the visual designs on some of the elemental characters, like fire, water, land, and wind. I do like the character animation in the teaser trailer. Like, I love that some of the wind characters are riding the subway upside down. And there is a good visual gap where we see a water boy sneezing out water in front of a land person and they grow planet hair on top of their heads. I'm also interested on how the interaction would go between Ember and Wei and the idea that they could have something in common even though they're completely different elements. They say water is super effective against fire, but I'm curious of what would happen if you combine both water and fire together. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Wait a minute, didn't we already have an animated Ninja Turtles movie last year and it was based on Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, which was made for television and streaming? What was that? It's not a sequel to the original movie last year and it's not based on the series itself. It's gonna be a new Ninja Turtles reboot. Oh, that makes sense. Now for me, I'm not a huge Ninja Turtles fan, but I did watch the 2012 Ninja Turtles series on Nickelodeon, and it was awesome. It's one of the best anime reboots of all time. It was dark, it had a lot of cool action scenes, some of the villains, especially Shredder, were intimidating. I like that they gave April O'Neil some depth, and I also like some of the charm and development that went into the original Ninja Turtles, like Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello. What this reboot succeeds is that it did help me remember the Ninja Turtles easily and tell them apart. And that is one way on how you welcome a newcomer like me to the franchise. As for Rise of the TMNT, I only saw a few episodes and I thought it was okay, but I did hear some good things about it in the later seasons. Now when it comes to this upcoming anime movie, it does sound pretty interesting. I'm so relieved that it's not based on another live-action Ninja Turtles movie, the ones that were produced by Michael Bay. And it's also pretty amazing that this is the first anime Ninja Turtles movie since the 2007 version. So what I can gather through the film synopsis is that it's going to be about the Ninja Turtles leaving the sewers for the first time and trying to live the life of normal teenagers in New York City, which does sound pretty interesting. Of course, they're still gonna fight some bad guys and protect April from danger, but I am curious to see how this interesting storyline will go that they're trying to live the life of normal teenagers. It's like something out of an episode of the Spectacular Spider-Man. But as of right now, I have yet to decide if I should see this upcoming anime Ninja Turtles movie, because as I previously stated, I'm not much of a Ninja Turtles fan myself. So we're just gonna have to wait and see, and hope there's gonna be some turtle powers in this one. Spellbound. I still don't know about Skydance animation as a whole. In my last video about my thoughts on the upcoming anime films of 2022, I mentioned that I wasn't interested in seeing Love because I don't use Apple TV Plus that much. But after hearing a few reactions, and I have been using a bit of Apple TV Plus to watch a few episodes of the Fraggle Rock Revival show, and rewatching the Peanuts holiday specials like Halloween, Easter, and Christmas, turns out I actually went and see it anyway. And I agree with everyone, this was not a good start for Skydance animation. While the animation was good and the voice acting was okay, it was so boring and predictable. For a movie that's all about luck, I know nothing about how the world of luck worked, because it rather wants to tell us what's been happening in the world of luck than actually show us what is happening. And even though I agree the animation was nice, the animation looks too similar to a Pixar movie. Because of it, it doesn't give Skydance animation its own identity. Instead, it wants to copy someone else's. Now, I do see the idea that's going on in this upcoming anime movie, Spellbound. It's a fantasy adventure about a princess that's trying to unite her kingdom, which does sound interesting, but my biggest fear is that it could fall into the same trap that Luck did, which is telling everything that's going on rather than showing us what is going on. Well, I do like the art style in this upcoming movie, but just like Luck, it looks like it wants to copy someone else's, this time with Pixar and DreamWorks combined, which the latter makes sense since one of the directors of Shrek and Shark Tale is going to direct this movie. I don't know if it's just me, but these two creatures remind me so much of the dragons from How to Train Your Dragon and the Yeti from Abominable. The only thing I can say about Spellbound as a whole is that I don't know, and I don't have high hopes for this or Skydance Animation as one of the big leads of animations. If Skydance Animation really wants to take themselves seriously, they need to prove themselves that they're not copying Disney, Pixar, or DreamWorks, because it's going to take a lot more luck and magic to do this. Paw Patrol: The Mighty Movie. Well, I was not expecting the dogs would come back for a theatrical sequel. Now, I just want to clarify, I have never seen a single episode of Paw Patrol. Even if the movie was released on both theaters and Paramount Plus, I never saw the movie itself, even on streaming. But what I was really surprised about Paw Patrol the movie is that not only audiences and critics really liked this movie, but it also became a financial hit, receiving over $144 million worldwide. Which the budget for Paw Patrol the movie was a bit around $28 million, which of course, it greenlighted a sequel. So what I've been hearing about this upcoming sequel, that is going to be about the Paw Patrol trying to stop a meteor from crashing the Earth, and they're going to use some themes from the Mighty Pups, which I guess it's their version of superheroes. Why does this sound familiar? So I will admit that the sequel does sound cinematic than the original predecessor, but I'm still not interested in seeing it because I never saw a single episode of Paw Patrol. I just never grew up with it, that's all. I know kids will have a good time with this upcoming sequel, and if you're still a huge fan of Paw Patrol, that's cool, go ahead and see it. Now, do I mind that there's going to be an upcoming theatrical Paw Patrol movie again? No, I don't mind at all. Am I going to see it? Absolutely not. But I do wish the upcoming Paw Patrol sequel the best of luck, and I hope it has fun. Chicken Run: Dawn of the Nugget. Now, here's a sequel I don't mind seeing. I actually saw the original movie Chicken Run, and it was a good movie. I also like that it is a parody of The Shawshank Redemption, which is a prison break movie where all the chickens try to escape these evil farmers. The stop-motion animation was good, and there were a few funny jokes. For this upcoming movie, it's going to take place years after the events from the first movie, and there is still a threat that's trying to take down all the chickens. Now, that does sound interesting, and I'm curious to see what's been happening with the chickens after they were finally free from the villains from the first movie. Like, are the villains coming back in this sequel, or if there's going to be a new threat this time? But as of now, we still don't have a teaser trailer for it. We're just going to have to wait and see how the sequel will go. But whatever happens, I will check it out. Trolls 3, aka Trolls Band Together. Oh no, not again. Now, if you guys are familiar with me, I am not a huge fan of Trolls as an animated franchise. I really didn't like the first movie. The sequel, I will admit, I didn't dislike it as much as the first movie. I really liked the world building of some of the musical troll characters like rock, pop, classical, and more. But outside of that, it's really not much. I mean, I get why they're doing another sequel since it was a digital hit when the pandemic hit in 2020. But do we really need more adventures of Branch and Poppy? I thought the sequel ended fine. All the Trolls Kingdoms are united, they got their music back, and Branch finally admit his feelings to Poppy. What more do you want to give us? Is there going to be a disco villain? Is Poppy going to screw up something like she always does in these movies? I really don't see the point on going on any more Trolls adventures. I actually want to go back to the Shrek universe. At least after the events from Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, I'm actually more optimistic on Shrek 5 than I originally was. The trolls say that you can't stop the feeling, and they're right, and they can't stop me about how I'm feeling about this upcoming sequel right now. Wish. That is the most beautiful artwork I ever seen in the 2020 decade. This upcoming movie was announced on the D23 Expo last year, and it's about a land where all your wishes can really come true, and what's even more interesting is that we might see the inner workings on how the wishes work. And I don't mean it in a scientific or Mother Nature way, but more like a magical way. And that's what this movie feels like, a magical movie, which does make sense since the movie is about Wish, and it is ironic since Disney does use Wish Upon a Star as its anthem for the Walt Disney Company. So as long as these 2023 anime movies remain intact as their original releases, it's going to be a good beginning with the Super Mario Bros. Movie, an amazing middle with Across the Spider-Verse and Elemental, and it's going to be a massive grand finale with Disney's Wish, and I'm definitely looking forward to it once it finally comes out. And there you have it, everyone. I looked over all the upcoming anime films of 2023 given to me at this time. Are you excited for it? Which movies are you going to check out this year? Well, feel free to leave in the comments below, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe me for a new review and other project. I'm Matt Patrick, and I'll see you all very soon.